Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Silver. I know I've been talking about it for a very long time. We're coming into that hot spot where there's a potential for the rigging to end. And I have always said that the rigging will end when the United States of America starts losing the fiat monetary system. And in that game. And we are losing in that game. It is clear that Russia and China and anybody who wants to look ahead towards the future is planning stuff around not having unbacked fiat money anymore. No, the Chinese yuan won't take precedence. They're not going to do a gold-backed currency, BRICS currency that's redeemable. The reality is every single country is going to have to take care of themselves and do what they will with their own monetary system. There'll be no more globalization. There'll be no more trade between countries. Hopefully there'll be no war, but I do not count that out. It is one of the options on the table for this system, and it is going to happen very, very, very soon. Why? Because we have an election coming up, and we have nobody who will allow it to happen. The Democrats would never let Trump in. They'd rather execute him. Yes, execute him. The Republicans don't want him in there because they're part of the deep state. Nobody wants Trump in the political machine. Now, well over half the country would love Trump to come back. I don't see it happening. It's not like I don't want him to come back. It's just that we need someone, after the crash, we need a uniter, not a divider. That's my take. Living in California, it doesn't matter what Trump does. It doesn't matter what is proven that he didn't do or he did do. It doesn't matter to the Democrats. If they admit that Trump was right all along on anything, they are basically telling it, because they had such a strong stance about it, they are basically telling the world that they're an idiot. Oh, I should have seen it. It's very hard to take people out of that mindset. They're going to start vaccinating people again. And, we're going to have a new COVID. And many of the Democrats are going to fall for the same bullshit. Amazingly. Because if they don't, then they are admitting they were wrong the first time. Clearly, doctors are going to push for it because they cannot say it was a mistake to demand that everybody take a vax. So we are headed to a point where everything's about to change. And we're not talking, it won't be more than a year that everything changes. Just given the Democrats refuse to do any debates. Who's going to debate in this in the run for the presidency? Nobody. The Republican debate was a joke. Nobody even watched it. Everybody watched Tucker Carlson interview Donald Trump. There won't be a Biden-Trump debate, obviously. So what is left of our country after that? I don't think there's much. There is a way to rebuild, to destroy the old fiat monetary system. All it takes is JP Morgan to go down or any one of the big banks. By the way, the FDIC is coming out with their quarterly report, I want to say next week. I think it's next week. And they've already warned it's going to get ugly because these assets have crashed even further on the bank balance sheet. There's not one bank today that is solvent. Not one bank today could withstand a run on the bank. You shouldn't have any money in the bank. If you care about anything, they will never be able to do haircuts. The first haircut they give, where a depositor loses, say they only have $250,000 in FDIC insurance, but they have $300,000 in the bank. The moment they lose that $50,000, every single customer of any bank around the planet will run to their bank and say, I want my money out, especially in the United States of America. Now, in Cyprus, they did it. I don't know how they did it. A authoritarian control probably, and a lot of it was taking away the oligarchs' money, the big people who hid money there. But it could never happen in the United States of America. Can you imagine Apple Computer losing all their money? Even corporations, Apple Computer can only have $250,000 in insurance. Now, there's ways to get around that with depositing in different banks, having a whole slew of beneficiaries. But these corporations, they're not used to this. They're used to the status quo, everything being the same. And nothing will be the same when this is over. Nothing. That was very clear in the Road to Ruta documents out of the Fed. When we make this shift over to gold and silver as money because the old system collapses, because of the derivative bubble popping, nothing will ever be the same. And that's a good thing. We can rebuild our country. Obviously, we can start making our own goods. It'll be tough for a while. Nobody trades with anybody for a while. That was very clear in the Road to Ruta documents, too. And those documents came from the Fed Boston, came from the original computer rigging people back in the 70s. A guy named Stephen DeVoe and Alan Greenspan. Those were the original, first the creators of our electronic monetary system, and then the controllers of our electronic monetary system. And those controls have gone over to the Exchange Stabilization Fund. Whether or not the good guys or bad guys control it, I think the good guys still do, as evidenced when Jamie Dimon tried to take out the repo market when Donald Trump was president so it wouldn't get reelected. And then Trump came down with a hammer. So, okay, we're going to throw you in jail for RICO charges. They have all the goods. They got all the goods they need on market rigging, on criminal activity. If you guys listened to the Cliff High interview yesterday, you would have heard Cliff say, we're not going to trust anybody anymore. After this all goes down, we won't trust anybody. And what can you implement that is a trustless system? Blockchain technology. I would say especially keep an eye on Veritasium. Day by day, the erosion of faith in exchanges goes away. I mean, increases. Nobody has faith. The erosion increases. Everybody's saying these markets are rigged. It's not just the silver market and the gold market. It's the oil market. It's the bond market. Catherine Austin Fitts, there's $100 trillion in bonds that nobody knows about. And it's every stock out there. Look up the Heinz case. Heinz, they tried to go private, and there was more shares than they issued out there trading, held by the brokerage houses. It's all a fraud. They just net at the end of the day, and the 3-day cover to fulfill your order, they just roll it over to the next day and the next day and the next day. It's a musical chair. With Veritasium, you can't do that. It's decentralized. It's peer-to-peer transactions. There's no more J.P. Morgan in the middle. There's no, Morgan Stanley. There's no Charles Schwab. It's peer-to-peer transactions using the Veritasium patented information. So that's if the good guys win. I think if the good guys win, we'll also see a better voting system. The United States Post Office invented and patented a way to use blockchain in voting so that you can't cheat and lie and steal. Of course, the Democrats don't want that. They want open borders to get as many voters as they can into the country and destroy the country. You'll see a mass exodus out of the United States from especially Mexico. All the Mexicans that are coming in are going to try to get home because Mexico will be the richest country in the world. They own the most silver. And I'm not talking silver at $30 or $50. I'm talking silver at $5,000, $10,000 an ounce. That can't happen, Bix. Why not? It happens with gold. Well, that's because the bankers print money to buy the gold. Well, there won't be any bankers anymore. What will the bankers do with all that gold? They will sell it to stay solvent. Very few bankers hold any silver at all. When you think about it, as banks collapse, they got to sell their the easiest assets they have to sell, which are not the mortgage-backed securities. It's their gold. So there'll be a huge selling pressure in gold. Will that take out silver? No. If it was in a freely traded market, silver in relation to gold would be trading 1-to-1 today. So I don't know about price, but I do know about the gold-silver ratio. And we are returning to the golden ratio of 1.618 to 1. Now, I don't know if that's silver to gold or gold to silver. Could be either. I think silver is massively more valuable than gold for all its industrial applications. But I also know there's 10 times the amount of gold that Jeffrey Christian tells you there is. There's not 200,000 tons that's been mined in history. That's ridiculous. And there's so much proof out there, but people are just too lazy to go get it. Read Gold Warriors. Peggy and Sterling Seagrave spent, 15, 20 years researching that book. All the gold, everywhere in the world, all the court cases, Supreme Court cases, you name it. All the documentation is there. It is absolutely true. And that was, estimating at 300,000 tons of gold. It's not 1 million tons like I'm claiming, but it is 300,000, which is 50% more than the 200,000, and that was focused in that area. So I would add that 300,000 on top of the 200,000 to make it 500,000 just for that one bit of evidence that the Seagraves brought up in the book Gold Warriors. And then you have gold in the Grand Canyon. All throughout the Colorado River, there's massive amounts of placer gold. Everybody knew it back in the early 1900s. That's when they locked up the Grand Canyon. And now, just recently, they locked up another 1 million acres of the most fertile gold mining area on the planet. I don't know how many mother lodes have been found by the government. I do believe some. Watch the movie, what's it called? McKenna's Gold. It's very, very similar to what happened in the early 1900s. They found this massive seam of gold, tried to mine it, and there was a rock slide, just like in the Road to Ruta documents that closes off the cave for Ruta. It's a rock slide. Same thing happened. Watch McKenna's Gold. It's a rock slide. And then they figured out, well, we really don't have to take the gold out. We can just show people the gold and issue certificates. We can fractionally reserve it. And then they closed off that area of the Grand Canyon in 1956, I believe it was, when there was the largest commercial aircraft accident ever. 2 jets taking off from the exact same airport, going to completely different destinations, crashed in the exact spot of where what's his name? They found the Egyptian caves in the Grand Canyon, the confluence of the Colorado River and the Little Colorado River. Kincaid's Cave, they call it. Look that up if you want to. Oh, Bix, that's all conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory is you're putting things together that says 2 plus 2 does equal 4, and here's what 2 is, and here's what the other 2 is. 2 plus 3 equals 5. Here's what the 2 is. Here's what the 3 is. That's 5. If you can add up your conspiracy theory to make it conspiracy fact, for example, Enron, everybody was talking about Enron being a Ponzi scheme of just a shell game. But they were yelling, it's a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy theory until it blew up and it was a $90 billion loss. It was conspiracy fact. Every conspiracy theory ends up a true one or a false one. And sometimes we don't know. Look into 9/11, for example. People still calling that a conspiracy theory, yet 80% of the population says they agree that it was an inside job. Of course it was an inside job. Why didn't anybody go to jail? So keep an eye on it. The computer programs that regulate the silver and gold markets are still functioning, obviously, as you can see right here. It'll be interesting. We did have deliveries today let me take a look here. 1,863 contracts. The total will be 2,979, I believe, which is 14.5 million ounces of silver. Not huge, but not small. But very interestingly, all last week, or 3 days last week, JP Morgan moved 14 million ounces of silver from eligible to whatever the contract is, ready for delivery. How did they know? How did JP Morgan know that all these banks, and there was a wide number of banks and entities right here, it was very spread out. It was too spread out, if you ask me. Every month before there's always one big one. This was spread out between Wells Fargo, HSBC, JP Morgan. JP Morgan House had to add 838 contracts. That's like 4 million ounces, right? The house account. Remember, they're not allowed to trade. Well, they're not allowed to do anything illegal. That's why it's always their customers that are doing it. But they chimed in again. What does that mean? What does it mean when you have your deliveries having to be filled the days before? Brought into the eligible category the days before. It means the current eligible category isn't eligible at all. They wouldn't excuse me. They wouldn't have had to bring up 14 million ounces into eligible unless they needed it. And that was, it says right here, 2,979 contracts. That's 14.5 million ounces. That means all the eligible ounces in the COMEX were not going anywhere. You can classify them as eligible, but you don't have to get rid of them if you're longs. So all of the eligible category in the COMEX warehouses, all of it is spoken for, and nobody's getting rid of it for delivery, so JP Morgan had to bring it all in, 14 million ounces from their warehouse. Does that make sense? It shouldn't, but that's what happened. Exchange for physical, off the charts this month. We're up at about 175 million. Go to HarveyOrganBlog.com. 172 million, is it? Let's see, what was yesterday's? Back of the envelope, 11 million to 161. It's 172 million. That's the second largest in history. The largest was just over 200 million. And there's one more day left, by the way, of the month. So today is the last day. If tomorrow we see the exchange for physical is gigantic, well, they post it at night. It could get over 200 million. They're just, what is that? 28 million away, 29 million away, 27 million away. I'm doing all this math in my head. Please pardon me. U.S. Mint, kicking ass. I don't even know what to say. U.S. Mint in August has done 3 million coins. Where were they? Where were they all year? Where were they since the addition of Ventris Gibson to the Mint? You know what I think it is? They're trying to save face. The U.S. Mint is going to be so important for the future of the United States of America. They're going to be in charge of the money. So they can't lose face. But they have. They destroyed themselves by not making coins to meet demand and messing with the hedge book to keep the prices low. Completely criminal behavior. You cannot have a smooth transition to gold, silver standard unless people trust the U.S. Mint. The U.S. Mint has to have 100% faith and confidence of the United States of America, and they lost it through Ventris Gibson and her band of merry men and women. They're trying to make up for it now. They know how important it is that everybody trusts the U.S. Mint. But right now, everybody is embarrassed by the U.S. Mint. The U.S. Silver Eagle is no longer the most popular coin in the world, thanks to Ventris Gibson and what she was told by. And it wasn't Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen is nothing. Janet Yellen is a figurehead. You want to know who's running the monetary system right now? This guy, Wally Ademo. Wally Ademo. Oh, a buddy of Barack Obama's, probably a boyfriend, but a buddy of Barack Obama's. And who did he work for? Yes, you got it, BlackRock. He was an Obama man. He was a John Kerry man. He's deep state everywhere you turn. Speaking of BlackRock, there was an SEC court case. SEC's Bitcoin ETF denial rejected by the court. Is this the beginning of the end for regulatory hurdles? No. So, BlackRock didn't own the. People were saying, no, BlackRock owns the ETF. No, it's Grayscale. But that's two sides of the same coin. Grayscale is knee deep with BlackRock. They're just different companies. But BlackRock is buying up every single Bitcoin miner they can get their hands on. BlackRock is a major shareholder in 4 of the 5 largest Bitcoin miners. BlackRock knows exactly which way this wind is blowing and is going towards cryptocurrencies in the future, as well as gold and silver. Don't you want to be in where all the rich and powerful people are going now? It's shocking to me that people aren't buying massive amounts. They might be, because the prices are rigged, of cryptos right now for the future. I'd start with silver, wait for the silver pop to go, and then get some cryptos. But the cryptos will be higher by then, but up to you. You should have a nice mix of both. But BlackRock is the heart of the beast right now. It went from Goldman Sachs to JP Morgan. Now the most criminal rigger is BlackRock. And that's not just in cryptos. This guy's in charge of all the precious metal manipulation. Evie Hambro at BlackRock. Yes, BlackRock owns SLV, the largest hoard of silver known to man, supposedly. Yeah, I agree with Ted Butler that JP Morgan had it, over 1 billion ounces, according to the OCC data. But they leased it out to Bank of America on some crazy lease term that I don't even understand, because we haven't seen the documents. I could. It's not a lease where you just give back the silver, because they booked $1 billion gain when they wrote these leases, and JP Morgan did. That means it's a fixed back end. They've sold that. That's a sale. Lease with a back end to purchase at a fixed price. It's not an operating lease. It's weird how that looks on your books. But you can't book a $1 billion gain on a regular operating lease where they return the metal to you. You have to book that gain over time. But if it's a fixed back end, you have to book the gain today. And yes, JP Morgan booked $1 billion gain the same year they paid $800 million in fines for rigging the market. But Evie Hambro at BlackRock runs. Evie Hambro's from the Hambro dynasty, mining family, royal bloodline, and all that shit. But he runs. I don't get this picture. This is BlackRock. Clearly, they have a picture from something past. Well, this was probably what it's the pixelation looks like it's from the 90s. I don't know what Evie Hambro looks like today. I can probably find it. He's out there talking on occasion, but he's doing the heavy work for guys like Wally Ademo. Hey, we need to rig the silver market. Keep that silver price low. This is Wally Ademo. He is the undersecretary. They don't call it undersecretary. They call it deputy secretary of the Treasury now. So he tells Janet Yellen what to do, which is scary. He's going to be a world of hurt really soon, too. All right, everything's falling apart. Love this part about Tucker Carlson is coming out about what Fox News knew about Obama before he got elected. Check this out.
I mean, the media is reporting on government, but it's also dependent on government. In 2008, it became really clear that Barack Obama had been having sex with men and smoking crack. And a guy came forward, Larry Sinclair, and said, I'll sign an affidavit. And he did. I'll take a lie detector. And he did. I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him. Well, that was obviously true. Nobody reported it. not because they were squeamish about sex or drugs, but because the Obama campaign said anyone who reports on this gets no access to the Obama campaign.
There you go. I love the truth bombs. I remember hearing about that. It was covered over. Everything's covered over. Yes, it is Michael Obama, not Michelle Obama. Another conspiracy, my God. All right. We're getting down to the last days of our silver Road to Rutacoin giveaway for private road members, and then we'll be on to a crypto. So if you're looking for, I think next week is we're going to change it. We're running out of coins, so we got to do it soon. If you want to get your silver Rutacoin and join the private road and get access to all the good stuff, go to roadtoruta.com, click on subscribe today. It'll give you information on that. Or you get the free email updates, roadtoruta.com on the left side. Go check it out. That's what I got for you. I'll talk to you later.